This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Andrea Lutz. A lot developing across the state of Montana tonight, including this, an update on a Montana hero. We check in on the recovery of Montana Highway Patrol Trooper Wade Palmer as he continues to fight through injuries after a March shootout near Missoula. Plus, a plumber is arrested after smuggling contraband into the Montana State Prison in Deer Lodge. That full story is ahead. Plus, it's been about 50 years since the last major upgrade at BOBCAT Stadium at Montana State University, but a major announcement today is coming from MSU. It could change a lot of things. We're going to get to that story in a minute, but first, new at 9 tonight, a search is underway both on the ground and in the air in Glacier National Park after a 66-year-old Whitefish man has gone missing. And tonight, authorities are asking for the public's help in trying to locate him. This is Mark Sinclair. He was last seen Monday night on the Highline Trail heading west. Staff at Logan Pass saw him leave his car, keys, and his dog in the parking lot, but since there's been no trace of him. Now, he was wearing gray shorts, a yellow bandana, no hat. He has got white hair. He's 5'8", weighs 155 pounds. So if you see this man that you see on your screen, call that number that you see right there. Well, tonight we're taking a deeper look at how a massive expansion at Montana State University's football stadium could impact BOBCAT athletics for years to come. This after the university dropped a streamlined 5-year master plan on the expansion. We've got some team coverage on this, starting with MTN's Cody Boyer in Bozeman.
For the bang for the buck, it benefited every single student athlete and program that we had.
The brick field house and the BOBCAT Stadium have seen thousands of students for decades, but as MSU Director of Athletics Leon Costello can vouch for, it needs to grow.
It's really the only project that we've done outside of some minor facelifts within athletics since the end zone was completed in 2010. To continue the growth that we see on campus, we need to catch up a little bit in athletics as well.
And to win the race, athletes will need to exercise their brains.
Our student athletes do very well in the classroom and they graduate at a high rate. Now with this space, we'll be able to focus on maybe on a little bit more details of their needs.
Well, the athletic director says this process is just about in the end zone. And when it's all done, this whole northern part of the field, along with other parts of the university that will be renovated, will transform, giving athletes that want to call themselves Bobcats a place to study and, well, even more than that.
We'll have a weight room in the new facility. We'll have a weight room still in this building. We'll have athletic training services in that facility. We'll have athletic training services here.
40,000 square feet and 2 stories of new space, not to mention 3,500 square feet more renovated across the street at the field house. You take the football program and move it over to the new area. Costello says that's space that is well needed. As of today, out of the $18 million price tag, $16.5 million of that has already been raised.
We've had approximately 300 individual donors to this with about 320 donations.
Costello says with help from donors, athletics can work more to get ahead, less to catch up.
As people drive onto campus, onto Kagi, they're going to see this facility and it's going to be a great way to welcome them to our campus.
All right, and now we are joined with Casey Conlin. This is a big deal for Montana State University. I mean, I'm wondering about kind of where this puts them. Does it elevate them now in the state?
You know, you hear so much about Washington Grizzly Stadium being the crown jewel of not only Montana, but the Big Sky, really of this region, maybe of the entire FCS. This maybe doesn't quite get Montana State there, but it gets them closer. And as they go forward with their 5-year master plan, if they're able to accomplish everything they want to, it just raises their level, not only among teams in Montana, but among teams in the conference, and it can only be a good thing for their athletic program.
And a lot of other now schools are going to be looking at what they're doing. Let's talk a little bit about the recruiting side of it. So in that story, Cody had mentioned bringing in new facilities and new weight room. That's got to be something that new recruits are going to be looking forward to.
Right. It's just going to be shiny, right? Everybody loves something new. When you're looking to go buy a car, the shiny one always stands out. Yep. So anything that Montana State can do for any athletes when it comes to practice facilities, which is, let's face it, where athletes spend the majority of their athletic careers. We see the games, they see 6 a.m. practices. And if you're in a nicer weight room, it makes that alarm maybe not so annoying as it is at 4:35 in the morning.
Okay, a lot of stuff to be thinking about. Thanks for the insight for that, Casey. A huge day for Montana State University. All right, and also tonight, some encouraging news for two victims shot during a crime spree near Missoula back in March. Montana Highway Patrol Trooper Wade Palmer suffered gunshot wounds to his face, head, and neck in March. Palmer was recently sent back to Salt Lake City for skull surgery. And although he still can't speak, his wife Lindsay says he is making progress. Casey Blanchard, who was also badly injured in that shooting, he has lost the use of his legs. Also, though, making astonishing progress, his wife Leah says he'll soon begin outpatient physical therapy. Casey is beginning to move himself and getting into a new routine at home. Now, Casey's mom, Julie, who was also shot, passed away in Washington State back in June. Broadwater County is asking for funding to help with the prosecution of a man accused of shooting and killing a Broadwater County Sheriff's deputy back in 2017. Broadwater County Attorney Corey Swanson requested $25,000 from 5 different Montana counties. And Broadwater County officials say their legal costs for the case total $241,000. The case involves Lloyd Barris, who police say gunned down Mason Moore near Three Forks. The Montana Department of Justice says donations would help them in this case. A case of smuggling drugs into the Montana State Prison in Deer Lodge has a former Department of Corrections employee behind bars tonight. John Campbell, who worked as a prison plumber, faces 39 felonies in connection with smuggling tobacco products to inmates for money. 10 inmates are also charged in the case. Well, we reached out to the prison for comment, but they declined to comment, saying that the case is active in prosecution. New information tonight surrounding a string of recent credit card frauds across Billings. Police have now linked the crimes to 3 different suspects in a completely different state. Officials say it's the first credit card skimming scam to hit the city, the number of victims reaching about 100. The device is usually attached to an ATM or a gas station pay pump, and although the suspects are out of state, police say they must be working with locals as transactions are actually coming from Billings.
If there's an unusual device next to where your card is, you can tug on it and see if it's stuck on with like double-sided tape. Try to use ATMs that are used frequently or in well-lit, good security locations such as well-lit bank parking lots. Try to avoid those ATMs that are tucked off in the back corner of a building where there's no lighting, no cameras.
So if you feel that you were scammed, police say you should file a police report. That could help you get some of your money back and also further their investigation. The 2020 race for Montana's Open U.S. House race is already packed with competitors, and tonight it's getting even more crowded. Democrats Matt Raines, a rancher from Sims, and Republican Tim Johnson, a school superintendent from Corvallis, entered the race. Both are political newcomers who say they'll bring a fresh perspective to the race. Republicans Matt Rosendale, Corey Stapleton, and Joe Dooling are already in the race, and there's some Democrats too. Kathleen Williams of Bozeman, State Representative Tom Winter of Missoula, all of those still running. New information tonight on the expansion of Billings Clinic in Bozeman as officials nail down specifics for that new 97,000 square foot facility. Those with the Billings-based hospital continue to meet with community members trying to get a handle on needs and wants for that new facility. The hospital will be adjacent to I-90 near the 19th Street exit. And architects say that the community input is helpful as they start to design it.
This is a building for Bozeman. This is a building for Billings Clinic. These are the people that this is going to matter for. And so if it does not resonate with them, we have not done our job right.
So Billings Clinic hopes to have some open houses in Bozeman, and they hope to open that Bozeman facility in the fall of 2021. Well, new details tonight on a push to unionize nurses at a Kalispell hospital, and now some are demonstrating outside the facility in opposition. A month ago, a group of KRMC nurses approached the hospital CEO asking the hospital to unionize its nurses, but not all of the nurses seem to agree. Hospital officials expressed some opposition to the union, asking nurses to trust in the culture of the hospital.
I'm super excited and fired up about the changes that we can all make together without a third party involved. So we wanted to come together and show support for our organization. We invited not only nurses, but all sorts of any employee who wanted to come out and show support.
Nurses from KRMC, Brendan House, and the clinics nearby will vote Thursday and Friday on a decision on whether they will start their own union. Well, it is a new era for the Bozeman School District as a new superintendent takes the helm and leads that district into the next chapter. Bob Connors is in his 34th year working in education. He's moving from an 850 school district in Glasgow to 7,000 students in that district in Bozeman. Between growth and that new high school, Connors says he knows the position's not going to be easy, but he's up for the challenge.
You know, I always like to be challenged, and maybe that's that old coach in me, but you know, it's always good to have something to look forward to every day, and that means you're alive and things are going well. And so as long as we continue that growth, as long as we continue to look forward in a proactive approach, I think things are going to go well here in Bozeman for us.
So another really positive thing for him, he says this is something he really looks forward to, just working with the school board as well. After years of work, 72 acres of land along the Grand Canyon Trail in Helena is officially protected. The Prickly Pear Land Trust and the White family finalized that deal. The property is to the west of Mount Helena. More than a decade ago, after William White's death, the Land Trust worked to come to a final agreement. And those with the Prickly Pear Land Trust tell MTN that they're moving forward in innovation and plans for that land. So when you are out camping in Montana this summer, this is something you're going to obviously want to avoid: any encounters with bears. At the Wolf and Grizzly Discovery Center near Bozeman, grizzlies test actually containers and coolers just to see what's holding up and what's not holding up. And officials say that a bear's most powerful tool is, of course, their scent of smell. So they want to make sure that you're keeping your food while you're out in the backcountry and camping locked up.
Either a padlock or a nut and bolt. We like to use carriage bolts and nuts, and that way the bear can't get their claws under it and pull it open. With wing nuts, there's a little more purchase and they could unscrew it. So those are some things to consider when you have those containers.
Doesn't take much for them to open up something. Also, to find out which containers and coolers withstand the grizzly test, you can head to the website that has popped up on the bottom of your screen. All right, still to come on tonight's MTN 9 o'clock news. The Butte Folk Festival, it's just days away. So we're looking ahead to the event, finding out which mining city businesses look to benefit the most for this. But first, we're heading over to Bob to see how the weather is shaping up.
Well, we could see some spotty sprinkles moving into south central Montana tonight, and then it looks like after that the rest of the state actually starts to see a little break in the action. We'll have more coming up after the break.